I think first of all, he has to listen to all the views on the ground. I think a lot of people, their reservation, and in fact, if you were to listen to Dr. Mahathir, his dislike of UMNO is because of working with all those people who are found guilty of corruption. So he didn't want to work with UMNO for the fact that there are some people who are tainted with corruption issues, abuse of power, and so on. So that was the reason why he did not want to work with UMNO. But because Tan Sri Muhyiddin already agreed to work with UMNO, and the reason that he is working is to form a coalition so that they can form a government. So I think what is more important is that he will have to listen to the grouses among people on the ground, that even if he wants to work with UMNO, he has to make sure that the mandate given last time to Pakatan Harapan prior to general election 2014 was that 2018 was that they rejected the corrupt regime, and therefore the new cabinet ministers that he will have to appoint have to be clean, free from all the corrupt charges, have high integrity, and most importantly, he will have to make sure that whoever is currently on trial, politician or even the executive cannot interfere with all the cases currently going on. So I think that's the wishes of the people currently, that did not want people who are tainted with corrupt charges, people who are tainted with abuse of power, people who have bad personality, not to become part of the new cabinet ministers.
Speaking of what people want, Doctor, some analysts are saying that a snap election is still very much on the cards. Is there an appetite among Malaysian electorate for more politicking and an election?
Oh, yes. I think the crisis, I don't think it will solve in the near future, because there is also an attempt by Dr. Mahathir to pass a motion of no confidence in Parliament, and there is some jostling among leaders to make sure that some representatives will support them. So I think that the few things that Tan Sri Muhyiddin will have to do in the near future, in the first few days, is to make sure that he has a solid support among some of the parliamentary members, because otherwise if the parliament convenes and if there is a motion of no confidence, and if he happened to lose the confidence of simple majority, then a new government will have to be formed or new election will have to be called up.
Dr. Martadha, what about the concern about PAS being in the fray here? For the first time in history, they're going to make their way back into the corridors of power and possibly given cabinet seats. It's no secret that PAS, to a certain degree, want a Sharia state or an Islamic state implemented in Malaysia. And yet they say that they need to address issues of racial equality and religious equality in Malaysia. I mean, where does that leave the minority races in all of this? You know, the Chinese and the Indians.
Yeah, I think that kind of issue will have to be addressed sooner or later by the Prime Minister, especially when he forms a cabinet. Because as far as we are concerned, the current coalition consists of dominantly Malays and the Bumiputra from Sarawak. So that will leave behind other minority groups such as Chinese and Indian. We have representatives from MCA, which are only 2 members, and 1 MIC a member of parliament. So 3, I think, are not enough to have a representative cabinet. So I think he will have a very Herculean task. First of all, to fulfill the obligation to the parties that support him, yet at the same time, he also has to make sure that the cabinet that he will be forming is a truly representative cabinet that reflects the population in general. So going back to your question, PAS has this certain image that they wanted to implement an Islamic state, such as hudud and so on. But I think as far as we are concerned, right now there have not been any statement from any PAS leaders that propagate that they wanted the current government, to introduce the Islamic state. As far as based upon the statement that we have listened, the president of PAS, Datuk Haji Hadi, has stated that their main concern now is for the new government to focus on the economy. So I think now what we are listening from statements from the president and also from some of the leaders that they don't really put a demand in terms of the Islamic State, the Sharia law. What they are stressing right now is for the new government to focus on improving the economy.